It is fight week. Mark, Heath, Dean Middhat here. We are your broadcast team for Contenders 31 London, Crystal Palace National Sports Centre this Saturday. Contenders' first ever event in London. Dean, what a night it is going to be.
It's going to be outstanding just to be back, and in London as well, the heart of the country. Is going to be amazing, Mark.
It is going to be superb. I cannot wait. There's an amazing card. We're going to get to as many fights as we can. We have to start, of course, with the main event. For the featherweight title, Jeremy Petley against Azzy Thomas. As I say, featherweight gold on the line. How do you see this one going, Dean? Because on paper, you look at Petley, you look at Thomas. This looks like a classic striker v grappler matchup. Is that what you're seeing?
Well, Azzy Thomas known for the one bomb because it just takes one. He's an extensive MMA resume, so he's not new to the game. He's fought in ACB. He's traveled around the world. He's a former professional boxer with the nickname One Bomb as well, so that will tell you something. So Jeremy Petley as well, amazing wins on Bellator. Last time he was on Contenders, he came up short with a guillotine. So that's an interesting point. But like you say, Azzy Thomas is definitely a very, very dangerous striker.
Both guys have been around the block. You say Petley fought for our lightweight title back in 2017, came up short there against a very talented Ili Dijaroon that night. What do you make of the build-up to this fight, Dean? Because Petley's had to change opponents now three times. It's his third different opponent. He was originally scheduled to fight JJ. Yeah, that fell off. Then he had Ricardo Moraes. We spoke to him about that. That's now fallen off because Emre Somres got ill. So Petley stepped up to the main event now to fight for the title. What do you make of that as a fighter in terms of the psychology of it? And also, he's gone from knowing he was fighting 3 5-minute rounds to now potentially 5 5-minute rounds.
Well, that's the thing as well. He's a seasoned vet. For me, seasoned vets, if you've been in the game a long time, you have your MMA game plan as a general consensus. You go into a fight. If stuff goes wrong, you need other stuff to back it up. So I'd say Jeremy is ready. He's an extensively experienced mixed martial artist. He's been there. He's an entertaining, never in a boring fight, great grappler. So I think he's got all the skills to deal with this change.
We shall see. That's your main event, Contenders London, this Saturday. The co-main event, Dean. Good Lord, middleweight malice. These two guys are going to get it on because they do not get along. Matt Finley, Steve Hill. Steve Hill unbeaten, 3-0. Finley's 3-1. Hill has never heard the final bell in his entire career. He's never lost either amateur or pro. And as I say, there's a lot of emotion involved in this build-up. They've been going back and forth, trading insults and memes on social media. As a fighter yourself, is there a danger of taking too much emotion into a fight like this?
Of course, if you get too hyped up, we saw it with Jose Aldo and Conor. Jose come running towards him, got caught with that shot. But what's an interesting fact about this fight actually is Stephen's coach, Alex, fought Matt 7 years ago in the amateur ranks, and Alex beat Matt.
Okay.
So there could be some sort of retribution there underneath the lines, looking for, Stephen trying to keep that of his coach's spirit alive and Matt trying to get some revenge.
Okay, so there's going to be some inside knowledge there. How do you see it? Because when we spoke to them, Matt was saying, well, I mean, they both said they're better everywhere. But on paper, you look at Matt Finley coming down from light heavyweight, you expect him to be the bigger guy in there. He certainly thinks he's got the better striking. And Hill, on the floor, would expect to have the advantage.
Oh, Stephen Hill as well, stand-up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Excellent in the no-gi scene as well, and he's adapted it brilliantly for mixed martial arts. What stands out for me is Matt's ability to throw unorthodox shots with power. They come from untraditional angles. And Stephen as well is a storied boxer in his amateur career. And traditionally you train from those angles, like down the pipe. The left hooks come in the same spot. But Matt throws really precarious angles, so Steve's going to have to watch out for that.
That is going to be an absolute firecracker. And speaking of firecrackers, potential fight of the night for me, just before that, the featherweight matchup between Diego, the barbarian, Barbosa, and Festus Soholu. Diego's had 8 pro fights. He's 6-2. Festus, 3-0, never tasted defeat as a pro. We interviewed them, obviously, in the build-up, and both guys very respectful, but both guys saying, with all due respect, I'm the better fighter and I'm going to win. How do you see this one going?
Diego, again, a tough test for Festus. He's fought on world level shows as Bama and Bellator as well, 67% TKO and KO win rate. He's definitely a step up and an awesome test for Festus, but Festus has got the skills to pay the bills. He's got the grappling, he's got the striking, he's got the knowledge as well. The fighter IQ for such a young guy, undefeated at 3-0 as well. That's going to be a crazy fight.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, potential fight of the night candidate. But if you look anywhere else on the card, there are fights of the night potential all over the card, Dean. I know there's another one you want to talk about, which is the matchup between Victor Chagas and Stelios Theo at welterweight.
Yeah, that's interesting because Victor comes into fight. He's very, very tough. You have to put him away to stop him. He's got extensive experience in the cage as well. I think he has 19 fights in the cage compared to Stelos' one. He's won, so he has 4 in the cage. But he's not tasted victory since 2018, Stelios. So he's on a mission to return to the winning column, and he's looking to make a statement in this fight.
Yeah, as I say, great fights all over the card. A couple I'd like to highlight as well. The K1 matchup between Brent Rosen and Bashir Fakhri, that could be really, really good. We've seen Brent Rose win twice on Contenders, unbeaten, including that highlight reel knockout over Daniel Ballard. And Bash, well, he's never in bad fights, is he? I mean, he's got all kinds of tricks. He's a bare knuckle boxer. He's got spins. You've got a bit of background with Bash as well, haven't you? What a fighter he is to watch.
Oh man, he's a great guy. I mean, my brother was best friends with him as we were growing up, and he's a fighter in and out of the ring, you know. And he comes to perform every time. The first time he was on Contenders, I was so excited because you're going to see a fight. He's going to bite down on his mouthpiece, and he's going to swing and try and finish the guy in front of him.
And as I say, he's got spinning attacks as well, hasn't he? He throws stuff, bewildering range.
That's it. He fought on the Taekwondo national team as well. So here's the crazy kicks from the funny angles. His turning back kick in the gym, hearing that land to the pad, it just echoed and everyone used to stop. So if he can land that shot, man, he could look for a finish there.
Yeah, look out for that one. That's a K1 matchup. There's also some other great welterweight fights on the card as well. Quentin Daviu, who we saw fight the late, great Jay Shepherd for the welterweight title last year, came up short that night. He's fighting Adanjo, a guy who actually has a submission win over Shepherd on his record. And it's going to be great to see Quentin back in the cage at Contenders on Saturday, Dean.
Yeah, he's such a tough fighter as well. Like, he knows how to go the distance. He knows how to control the cage as well. I love his cage control and his awareness in the MMA game. He understands where to stay out of positions. He understands the cage control as well. He's a really exciting fighter to watch because he really does bring everything to the table.
I'm just going to throw some more fights out there as well, because this is a preview. Harry Davis, former UC MMA lightweight champion, returns at welterweight against Jose Kikumbi. That could be an absolute barn burner as well. 2 strikers. Harry says he's expecting, as soon as Jose tastes his power, he's going to shoot for the takedown. Is that what you're expecting?
Yeah, as always, you taste that power, who's going to change levels first? Who can control the cage as well? I'm going to look to see who takes the center of the cage first, because usually that's the guy that's going to control the angles in the striking game.
We've got the return of Rico Biggs as well, a local boy. And also I want to highlight the heavyweight MMA matchup earlier on the card. Mario Pinto making his pro debut, 5-1 as an amateur, storied amateur career, against Yoffie Hulton, who is 1-1. He's fought on Bellator, Cage Warriors. He's got some real experience. And Dean, whenever heavyweights are in the cage, it's that don't blink, you might miss something explosive sort of feel, isn't it?
And when heavy levers being traded, man, you can't look away. And that's the thing with the Contenders as well. They're bringing such exciting fights throughout the whole of the card. Even the amateur fights are so exciting. So you're going to be strapped to the screen, or if you're there, you got lucky enough to get tickets, you're going to be strapped to that cage and watching the action.
How exciting is it going to be, Dean, to be back cage side? We've not been together for a year or so since the drive-in show. Contenders is back in a big way. London show, London debut, some big plans for next year as well. It's going to be electric in there Saturday, isn't it?
Oh, I can't wait, man. I mean, the Contenders just brings that vibe that you're stuck to your seat. There's electricity in the air. The fights are outstanding, well matched as well. You know, there's no easy fights. So we always see great fights. And what I love about Contenders is it's a platform for the fighters to evolve. If we see them win or lose, they come back next time a different person.
Yeah, do not miss it then. Saturday, October the 2nd, Crystal Palace National Sports Centre. Contenders 31, our debut in London. And I would argue with the best card we've ever put on. The featherweight title fight at the top of that, Jeremy Petley against Azzy Thomas, and some other absolute barn burners of fights. Do not miss it. The ticket's still available now at contendersmma.com. And also, if you can't get there on the night, you can watch Dean and I calling the fights, breaking it down, and bringing you everything that's happened on the night via the pay-per-view on MMA TV. So go and get signed up for that if you've not already. We will see you, London, on Saturday.